Hey guys, so I'm going to give you a rig review here today, and this is my Skeleton J2 Class 2 build, and the only reason this is Class 2 is because I've got a bigger tire diameter on it than legal for Class 1. Otherwise, if I change the tire to a 1.7 IROC or something, I can have a Class 1 legal truck. I know, I told you we were going to do a video describing the Class 1, Class 2 differences, stuff like that. And but we haven't done that yet, and I think we'll probably get to it soon because the truck builds are starting to roll out of here pretty fast. So we're gonna have to get a few guys together and have that discussion. Sounds like a new scale talk. But for today, I'm gonna give you a rig review on this. Thanks for all your comments, suggestions, shares, and likes on the video channel, and I'm taking your feedback to heart because a bunch of you have asked, you know, hey, when you're doing a rig review, can you please get the lid off because we want to see what's inside the heart of this monster. And that's true. So some of the cars, it's a little harder to get the stuff off, and you know, when it comes to an XV01, I think we pretty much already all know what that looks like. There's nothing in there except black plastic and wires. So on a Jeep like this though, there's a lot going on under this, and as you can see, there's a full interior, and we got full lighting package here. The HOK light controller is working there. It's got my hazards on right now because there's no throttle for more than 30 seconds. I got my warm whites lighting up the crowd in the front, and then of course on the back I've got my red tails here going on. So there's also a set of reverse lights that you can't see because the reverse is not on, but let me see if I can show you the reverse lights. There we go. So when you go into reverse with the HOK controller, or forward, when you go into forward or reverse, the lights dim. Right? So now I go from stoplights to parking lights, and I can actually shut those off with my channel here. So I can shut off the headlights. No headlights. Headlights, no headlights. And when I do that, the parking lamps disappear, right? So when I go into reverse now, there's no park lamps. Just reverse, forward. So when you turn the headlights back on, headlights on. Now I got the parking lamps again. Anyway, hey, okay. This is the awesomest light controller in the world. There's a link at the bottom of the video for HOK Performance products. You can get them now at RC 4-Wheel Drive Store and a whole bunch of other places. So you guys, you gotta look this thing up. I mean, I'll show you where it is and how it plugs in. Easy, easy, easy. Get this light controller. Now, because I got a full interior in this, it's pretty obvious that all the guts have got to be under the hood. And, well, I didn't want to cut up the Jeep body. So this is actually a bolt-on, no body mods. And you're never going to believe this, but underneath this thing is a 2-speed transfer case. 1, 2. And of course we've got the motor up front. Anyway, I got a lot to show you here. So first of all, let's deal with the exterior because I'm going to get this lid off soon here, and then I'll show you the guts. Up front, I've got an RC 4-wheel drive bumper. Nice juicy stinger on it there. I shouldn't have worn a black sweater. Can't see anything. Big juicy stinger on there. I welded my own flat plate on it and a winch fair lead. Get rid of the headlights. So you see the winch fair lead there, but there's no winch. And that's because the winch is underneath right there. That is a TZI World beefy winch. That is a winch. As awesome as the light controller works, it's equally as awesome as this winch. Okay, if the light controller is a 10 out of 10, this winch is a 10 out of 10. I'm pretty sure you can pull 80 pounds with it. Amazing. Now I want to show you what's going on underneath. So, oh yeah, the back bumper. So in the back, RC 4-wheel drive bumper. It's the tube bumper. By the way, both of these bumpers are actually they're actually SCX listings. So you can find them in the SCX parts, and they fit on the J2 skeleton chassis, no problem. So, yeah, let's do the undercarriage. Yeah, it's black. Black is the new fad, let me tell you. Because when you're looking through the fenders and stuff, you don't want to see anything. Scale truck, it's got to look like dirt underneath, and that's it. So in the center here, let me stand this up. Oh, there we go. So this thing here, right there, this is actually my master switch, and I'm going to show you a close-up there. The master switch is actually screwed onto that cross member that's bare steel there, and it latches onto the chassis and creates a body mount. Okay? Don't worry, I'll tell you about the axle housing in a minute. But there's the master switch, and you can see there's a double Dean's connector in there, and that's because I actually have two batteries. The batteries are right here. There's one under here, and there's one under here, and they sit in this pocket right here, underneath the driver's seat and the passenger seat. You see this huge pocket between this level and the floor, and look how flat they are. The battery fits right under there, no problem, tons of room. It's a 2200 2-cell on each side, so I got 4400 milliamps of go-go juice in here. This is the exact same battery that you use in a 1/16 Traxxas. So if you want to match size, you can just look for batteries that fit in a 1/16 Traxxas, 2-cell or 3-cell, doesn't matter. It's going to fit in there because they make the size the same so that you can use either one. And that's the size I have under here. So all I have here is this one bolt right here, and it's just a Lexan cover that I bent up out of 1mm Lexan and painted it flat black. And it covers over the batteries, gives them lots of protection, and it kind of looks like a false floor in the truck at the same time. So, you know, I'm happy with that. And I got lots of battery power. So the battery leads run back here to one from each side here, and they go into a Y connector, which is right underneath the back axle right here, and that is controlled by the master switch. The master switch here sends the power all the way up to the speed control. So, except for the GCM hubs on there and the GCM Detroit BL beadlock rims, 1.9, pit bulls, you know all about that stuff. Anyway, not much else to show you on the outside. This is right off of eBay, this body. I just yanked the door pins, and there we go. And I can fit my driver in there. Oh man, I'm excited. So, I'm going to take the lid off. Let me shut this off here. Once you pull this master switch, you're done. And that thing provides plenty of power for this. It's a 13.5 brushless, for heaven's sake. The thing can draw an awful lot of current, and that switch is more than enough. And I've really run it hard on high traction to the point where I actually busted off the front axle already. One of the reasons why I'm doing this video, because yeah, it's broke. I snapped off the axle right in the middle of the housing. So I've got to repair that, and I've got to do some work on the transfer case, and I'm going to show you all that now. Anyway, to pull the body off, you only need one tool. It's a 2.5mm hex wrench. Done. First of all, you can, yeah, I don't even have to take off the battery covers, so I'm going to leave them there just so you can see what they look like. The first thing I'm going to do is take off these two bolts here that hold on the back body mount, right there, and they're also on the switch plate. So I'm just going to unscrew these. Now the reason I can hard mount the body is, of course, because the batteries are mounted from the bottom. They have their own separate trays and everything, so if the body is attached to the frame for the rest of its life, who cares? All the serviceable parts are easy to get to. You know, battery pack, switch, wiring, whatever. And if you have to do anything more major than that, well, then you take the body off, so what? But you don't have to worry about clips sticking out of your body this way. And you certainly don't have to worry about the body falling off. I mean, that's really well, it's on there. So, let me show you this. So, this is now loose, you see? And it's bent in a little shape there that captures the frame rail right here. And the bumper fits into the slot in the back of the body now. So, it can't move around because it's captured by the bumper. So, once you put that clamp on it, done. Up front, easy. I like easy. Can you figure I like easy? 2 bolts on the J2 radio tray right here. One there, one there. Easy. I'm going to take these off. These 2 bolts make contact with the bottom of the radio tray. And then I built a little tiny spacer out of a link material. And the spacer goes between the radio tray and the actual body up here. So there's a little gap there, and I just closed the gap with a piece of material. So I'll show you that in a second. But basically, this is super easy to get off. You could even do this on the trail. I mean, it's one wrench, right? If you had to fix something on a G6 or whatever, you could easily just yank the body and pull it off, away you go. So, get the last screw out here. The holes are already in the radio tray for this, by the way. So when you buy a J2 Ultimate Combo, you get the links matched to the wheelbase, and you get the radio tray and all that stuff already there. So I mean, it's so easy. There's the parts I'm talking about. 2 screws. The front screws are long because I have these spacers. Now, you see when I lift this up here, it's completely separated except for this one little light harness right here. Let me turn it around and show it to you. Here's one of the spacers that I made for between the radio tray and the body. There's the second one. So, I'm going to lift this off, and you can see where the light controller is right there. See the plug there, that big 6-pin? Oh, that's the Hey OK light controller attached to my radio stuff. And all I got to do is unplug this one harness here. I made up this harness so it would easily work. But essentially, this is the light controller. So all these pins on here for the LED outputs, they're all just standard servo pins. You just plug in your servo wires, whatever. But I'm using a 6-cell balance port, and it goes all the way across the entire thing, so I actually get all the pins all captured at one time. I can unplug this here. So there's, you can see the 2 batteries. See where my 2 batteries are in there? And then my Y harness that goes to the switch, which acts as my body mount. And then it plugs back into the standard electronics here. So this is it. Get that out of the way. This is a complete battery-free but totally running 2-speed brushless 13.5 with a Beck, everything. All jammed into this unbelievably compact package right here. That's it. Super compact. Now, I'm using the GCM high-low transfer case in here, which we haven't even released yet. And one of the reasons we haven't is because it's in this truck for testing. And this thing is going to get severely pounded out on the rocks in a whole bunch of videos before you guys ever see one of these outside of GCM. And that's part of our policy. If it doesn't work here, we're not letting it out. So, everything's hooked up. It's got a 2-speed. The shifter servo is right underneath here. Excuse me. I actually just two-sided taped it onto the bottom of the radio tray right there. It's a 4-gram servo. 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. This is a tiny servo, okay? It's the size of a quarter. It's tiny. And you don't need a bigger servo than that for shifting. I have no idea why people are putting a full-size servo to shift twin hammers or whatever, because I got a 4-gram servo in there the size of a quarter, and it's more than enough and it's all metal gears, and it's digital, and it's super fast, and it works. I don't know, why need more? It was really cheap too, it's tiny. So it runs this linkage here, which shifts the transmission, which is actually the transfer case. And then I have my regular 13.5 Novak crawler motor up here. This is geared, let me see, 2281. The gearing on this is 2281. There's an axial transmission up front, the same way we do with the J2 Combo Ultimate Combo Kit with the 1-to-1 transfer case. This has a gear reduction in the transfer case for first, and then an overdrive for second. So what that means is, you have to gear it up a little bit, give it a little more kick at the front here on the brushless system, and give the gearing a little bit of a kick, because if you do that, you'll get a really nice low first gear and a friggin' bunch of wheelie speed on second gear. Oh yeah, even on a 2-cell it's got like, it does wheelies, man, it's crazy. So I decided to do a whole bunch of experimental stuff on this because I'm doing brushless. I'm doing the 2-speed, I'm doing the Dinky RC cantilever suspension here. You guys seen that? Whoa, this thing is so smooth. Wow. This is the Dinky RC SCX suspension cantilever kit, and all I had to do to put this on the J2 was actually change the length of the push rod that goes from the axle to the cantilever. That was it. They gave us a 20mm shaft for the push rod, and I shortened it to 8mm, and I screwed the two parts right together so they're touching like this instead of having a thread in the middle. That was all I did. It was a 5-minute install to put the cantilever on this. Yeehaw, and it's really nice. I love it. Another fantastic Dinky RC product, link below. Buy this kit. Now, I also wanted to try out this fancy speed control I've never used. This is an LT4 120 amp from Brushless Hobbies. This thing is awesome because it comes in the box with a USB programmer. You just plug it in the computer, download their software, and you can do all the settings. I mean, more settings than I even knew was on an ESC. It rivals what you can do on a Castle, no problem. I mean, timing and boost and all this stuff and variable throttle curves and whatever. So I've got this thing set up for the censored 13.5 crawler motor, and then I have instant reverse, which is actually just about instant, even though it's brushless. Like, I mean, it stops the rotor and then it's full gas the other direction. It's pretty fast, so you can really see that the speed control is doing its job. And with a 120 amp supply, more than enough power. I got a lot of battery to run it, so I think I'm gonna have a lot of horsepower in this, and I've had so much already that I blew the drive shaft right off the front of it, just like in the first 5 minutes of testing it. So I need to do a drive shaft upgrade. Different video. So up in the front on the J2, all under the frame rail, the motor mount rail up top here, this fits under the hood no problem. I have a receiver, a Beck, the Brushless Hobby speed control, the light controller, the TZI servo winch on the dual mount here on the front of the J2, and of course my Hobby King 2S direct wired steering servo. Lots of jam on that servo, lots, and it's actually too fast. I've used the radio. This is a GT3C radio that I've actually got Hey-OK Performance to hack it for me, so I've got it multi-channel, and I'm actually using 5 channels on this because I've got lights, you know, steering, whatever, winch, transmission shifter. So the thing is, it's pretty stacked up, and programming these radios is the bomb. I love the system, so I can set all my endpoints, I can set all my servo speeds. You know, you can set all kinds of mixing, delay, whatever you want to do, it's all there. Now, let's move on to suspension a little bit, because I'm sure you guys are asking, like, what friggin' axle housing is this? It is the Terramod axle housing from GCM. There it is. It's the world premiere. You might have seen some pictures of these on the Facebook page because they've been poking around for several months while we were getting them perfected. And these are the jobbies that are going to end up in production. So there's the front housing. offset as far over to the knuckle as you can without losing the shock mount. All the way over. These are all front loading, so once you take the cover off here that has the skid plate and stuff on it, you unbolt this cover, and they're all front loading just like a metal head axle. Not bad, eh? For SCX size. It's as wide as an SCX, and it runs SCX steering parts with the proper tab and everything on there, so it's nice. And I've got the Axial aluminum high steer knuckles on this one, so there's like clearance in the front end just all the way to the moon. And in the back, direct SCX drop-in. That was it. I put the last locker in there and the straight axles right out of the SCX rear end. Boom, dropped them in. They're all rear loading. You take off the cover bolts here and plop the cover off with the with that awesome little skid protector on it. And boom, they're gone. So, 4-link on the top at the back. It's already there. Everything's already here. You just bolt it in, boom, boom. And of course, we're going to start selling these J2 kits with SCX axle housings and a set of front axle shafts, because the diff is offset. Nobody's got shafts for an offset diff. So we're actually going to build the diff in the front for you. And the rear, you can drop in all your own stuff, no problem. Drive shafts, simple. I put Wild Boars on it right now, but I'm pretty sure after I can keep the wheel shafts from snapping off, then I'm probably going to have to actually upgrade the shafts. And I have steel shafts for it, so no problem. Drop those right in. This is actually the length. The Skeleton J2 uses the same length of shaft as a SCX in the front and a Tamiya F350 in the back. And if you buy some of the aftermarket F350 kits for the front and back, they actually are a direct bolt-on because they slide far enough for the front and they close in far enough for the back. So boom. The Tamiya F350 drive shaft upgrades are a really good fit for a Skeleton chassis with the 1-to-1 T-case drop in. I'm using that on the other Jeep, so it's a perfect match. Now, let me show you some other details that are coming on with these axle housings, because this is sort of the premiere. If you have a look in here, there's a full dust cover. I'm going to shove this right in the camera's face here, if I can do it. There's a full dust cover in there on the axle, and there's a little rotor, a little caliper that fits. Of course, we're using the GCM wheels, so the GCM wheels, every one of them has a rotor. Every GCM wheel has a rotor. That's just how they are. And because of that, the caliper and the dust cover is a perfect match. We sort of designed it that way, but you can use just about whatever wheel you want on there. You may have to get rid of the caliper to make your own rotor or your own wheel work, but the dust cover is going to work. And the dust cover is also the bearing cover on the end, so it's all one part. The axle comes with all that stuff already on it. So there's a little more detail on those Terramod axles. Guys, I cannot say enough about this winch. For any of you guys who have actually used a TZI winch, I know they're rare and few and far between, but that thing is so strong. Oh man, you will rip off your buddy's bumper with that thing. So be careful. And I'm running a Hey-OK winch controller on it. TZI is actually running, he's actually just about to produce his second version of his winch controller, so he's got a real heavy duty unit coming out now to match up to this unbelievable winch. And wow, that's a beefy unit. So here I am. There's a rig review on my Class 2. Now I want to make another note real quick here about some wiring. Let me just show you what's going on in the front of this Jeep. I've seen a lot of guys spend a lot of time getting all their wiring all in a loom there and running it all down the side and tucking it all in and whatever. Let me tell you, nothing works better than clear tape and black paint. Nothing. It's as thin as the wire. The tape holds it down to the body like I've done here, so it never comes off. You shoot some black paint on it. Look at that. It's protected. It can't come out. And it looks fantastic because nobody can see the wiring. And while you're squirting your black paint in there, you can actually paint the back of the LEDs so they don't bleed through into the interior and the undercarriage. Same thing I did in the back. If you have a look in the back here, there's no wiring. Wiring is all in the LEDs, and then I shoved it right down the side. It runs right in the back here. After the wiring was all done, I sprayed the bottom of the body with black paint. Covers all the wires, done. Super tidy. So, that's my little plug for all this awesome equipment. And man, I wish everybody could run one of these things because I think this thing looks fantastic. I just love the look of this. I'm going to have to actually spend some time adjusting my front shocks here. The back is the cantilever from Dinky RC, and the front is actually just the SCX standard shock. So I've got lots of room to tune up the front shocks. I think I'm going to have to put a heavier spring in it because it sags a bit in the front. And that's pretty much the rig review for my Class 2 skeleton build. There's a whole bunch of these skeleton kits out there somewhere, and if you're one of these guys that has got one of these in process or being built or whatever, and you want to put some comments down below that talks about your build, or put in a link to your channel or something, because I'd really like to see who's got these that's building them up. I know there's a whole bunch of them out there, and I don't want to see what you're doing with them. By the way, another little quick plug, you're going to see a rig review before the hot weather shows up here in the summer, because Dana's building, Dana from our team, he's building a clodbuster body in the two-door pickup form on a J2 skeleton chassis, and it's the exact same wheelbase as this. Everything was a direct fit. So if you're not a Jeep guy and you're a Chevy guy, you're going to want to see that rig review, because that guy does incredible work, and his clod build is top shelf. I cannot wait to show that to you. And we definitely got to have that here on the channel to put in the mix on the rig reviews. And guys, thanks again for watching. Like, share, comment, subscribe. And if you want to send us an email, you can use scaletalk@gcmracing.ca if you want to, and there's the link. And check the links below in the comments. All the stuff I've been talking about, I'm going to put links in here. There's going to be a full, at the very end of this video, have a look. There's a full list of all the equipment that's in here. You can have a look for it yourself. And all the products there, and go shopping, man. This is a great combination of stuff, and before you know it, you're going to see some videos of this thing's out on the rocks. Thanks a lot.